I want to give you a little information about, again, about the oil CEO I quoted that liquefied all his short positions on oil, all of them. In other words, he's so sure that the oil prices are going up, he wants to fully participate in them going up. And I always said that oil prices are actually going to be the thing that leads the charge for gold and silver. And also, you've seen the political environment change in Washington, D.C., which probably will change the policy that's going on with Iran and Syria. And, well, let me just tell you this. I know Lindsey Williams says, he's got an inside guy he talks to. I don't even need to talk to anybody. I just got to read what their actions are. Well, this guy's wealth, who liquidated his position, he's the 50th most wealthy man in the entire world. Not just the United States, in the entire world. So he's the 50th most wealthy man in the entire world. So even if this, I know Pastor Williams was full of it, but say he was not full of it. Just reading what this guy's actions are, Harold Hamm, Hamm, tells me that, well, if you don't know what's going on, who the hell does know what's going on, right? He's a multi-billionaire in oil. If he liquidated, I got to repeat that again. That's a pretty important fact, isn't it? And I don't know if, I don't even know what the hell the other silver people are telling you because I don't listen to them. I just try to pick out pertinent information that's going to really tell you what's going on. That's the hardcore facts. And I know it comes from the major media because they're telling you something, and they're not necessarily screaming that, oh, gold is going to go up because it is. They're not telling me that. They're just telling me that this is what this guy did, And, I got to make my conclusions from that because he's expecting oil to go way up. And I do know there's a pretty damn good correlation between gold and oil, especially when oil goes up pretty fast. And the big stumbling block for oil not going up is Obama is appeasing, Iran and everything else. The Obama administration's at odds with Netanyahu. It's the worst the D.C. administrations and the Israeli political leadership's ties have been in, I don't know how many decades or whatever, because of actually his top advisor, I'm probably saying her name wrong, Valerie Jarrett, Jarratt. She's born and raised in Iran. And Obama identifies with being a Muslim and Islam, so their appeasement. So, the political situation probably has changed quite a bit, though, which means, and the way I think they would play it, though, they would probably try to have it where, Saudi does most of it against whatever. I don't know what they would do exactly, but if there's turmoil in the Middle East, oil's going to go way up, gold's going to go way up, then silver's going to go way up. So anyway, just want to reiterate that again. The guy that actually liquidated his entire short position worth all these, I forgot the heck the money was. It was a lot. All of it. In other words, if he would have held on to the short position in oil, he says he doesn't think it's going down further. So in other words, that's not like just declaring, oh, well, I think oil is going up because I sell oil. No, that's what he did with his money. And if a guy that is the 50th wealthiest man in the whole world doesn't know what he's doing with his money, I don't know. Well, why should you question what he knows, right? I mean, I think he would know if he liquidated his short position last week entirely, and he says he wants to participate in oil going up. I mean, it doesn't mean it's going up overnight, but it means the trend it's coming about pretty soon. And also, even in the major media, they're freaking warning about this market. They are actually admitting in the major media, the broad equities where you're hitting the Dow's hitting record heights. And I said part of it was also just because of Visa. One stock was one of them that helped it along pretty good. But the major media is even saying that the industry numbers, the power of the manufacturing numbers and the employment numbers, the employment participation numbers are not even supporting what's going on in the markets. He says actually what's going on in all the global markets, it's central bank spending. Even the major media is saying that. So what happens when they back off QE, which they already are? Would that not send the markets down? It could. It could very well do so. And they also talk about when gold hits bottom is when the markets on the Dow hit top. They also say this in the major media. I mean, it's not like, you're hearing the silver pumpers telling you this garbage, or the professional ones like Mike Maloney or something. I mean, the major media knows this as a fact, too, But they also point out that when the pundits for gold were talking, when we were hitting 1900, they were already talking like 3,000, 5,000, all that stuff in the next couple of years. And what happened? It went way down. And the major media points out they were wrong. And they were wrong. And the dollar did not collapse. But, over the next so many years, you might see the dollar lose a lot of its shine. It's not going to go away, though. It's not going to go away. So anyway, I wanted to reiterate that stuff with, the CEO, because if you really want to know what an insider is saying, watch what they're doing with their own money. And watch what type of person where they are in the business world. He's the 50th most wealthy person in the entire world, Harold Hamm. So, that puts him up there with, you're talking in the world, okay? And when you're talking like, say, Bill Gates liquidated his position in oil, what would that mean? What does he know about oil, right? Say Bill Gates did that. What would he know about oil? Actually, he liquidated a lot of his position in Microsoft. If he didn't do that, he'd be way the hell up there. He'd be even way more wealthy. That's a fact. If he didn't bail out of Microsoft so much, even though he's the wealthiest guy in the world, he would have been even more wealthy by far. But I don't know. Goes to show you the best. That's kind of funny in a way, because I don't know. It is kind of funny. And I find it kind of funny. But anyway, but when a CEO of an oil company is doing this, you got to remember that, I got to remind you again, George Soros is he's invested in the gold miners. He's probably taking a beating right now. But the thing is, you don't lose, you don't recognize anything as a loss or a profit until the point of sale. And that's just like when it's going, say it went way the hell up, and everybody's going, hey, look at all the money we made. You don't make money till you sell. And I think actually it's going to be scarier selling on the way up, because you're going to be kicking yourself if you sell too soon. And especially when silver goes like this. You know what I mean? Freaking devil's metal. Every time it goes like this, all the pundits will come out and it'll go like that, and it'll go back up again. That's how it's going to go up. And at the end, it's going to go up too fast, too high, and then it's going to go even higher, and then it'll come back down. It's a devil's metal, man. The hell can I tell you? But, if you hang on, you should be all right. So, it should be. You should be. Because, the factoids are really there, man, to the max. All right? Just want to keep this brief, but it's so damn important. It's so damn important. It's like a granite stone saying something right there, man. Like, the Georgia Guidestone says population will be under 500 million. Silver's going to go up. And, we can put another stone on top of the 500 million. We have an addendum to the Georgia Guidestones. We put another rock over there and says the population can be anything we want it to be, you knuckleheads. This is the new law of the land. That's what we ought to do, actually. Instead of messing up that stone, put another stone over there, even if it's this big. Just tell them, nope, the population can go to a trillion, no problem, as long as these guys get up their heads out of their ass. Don't have to be $20 billion or $20 million Stonehenge, as long as we put it up there and you tell them, hey, man. Anyway, just over and out on this bullshit, because, I'm using common sense all the way. I know I put out a video a while ago about the MACDs. The MACDs say that silver's a buy, but that's a general long-term signal. That it actually when it went down to below 18 after I put that video out, but it does state that. I mean, it's a good good long-term trend that it is a buy. And when they say it's a sell, when it's going way up, it can do a spurt at the end too high, and you'll be missing that. And hey, nobody's going to get it exactly right, but do remember, the old basic rule is you don't recognize losses until you sell, and you don't recognize gains until you sell. And cash is going to be the medium of exchange in the United States for quite some time. And if it's not, that means we got a problem, man. And man the guns and get back to the freaking country again. Because even if, I'm going to tell you this. I just got to ad lib here a little bit on the end here again. If, for instance, we had paper cash as our currency, electronic cash, and it wasn't backed by squat per se, but the money was issued by the Congress, it still would work a hell of a lot better than when you got the Federal Reserve playing games and we got crony capitalism and they're shoring up all the entities that Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett invested into. We don't need this kind of garbage. If they just printed money in Congress, just printed it, right? And they said, we're going to use that money to get these really powerful, strong, entrepreneurs that really know how to put shit together really good. And they're going to put together all these roadways, bridges, aqueducts, aquifers, and solar panel arrays and all this other crap. Even if that caused inflation, it would still provide a benefit for everybody in the United States, right? The problem is the Federal Reserve, crony capitalism, and all that other garbage. It's not capitalism. It's that's how I have to say it's cronyism more than capitalism. They when they put the money out there, they just give it to the top people, the racket, and it just sits there and it never gets in the hands of the people that actually perform real work. That's why it don't work the way with the Federal Reserve. You can still have fiat cash as long as the freaking Congress does it, the House of Representatives does it. And then if the people feel like, hey man, it's causing inflation, back off on that fiat cash crap, and they back off. You know what I mean? It would actually work, okay, as long as you don't have the central banks involved in this garbage where you got the crony inside yo-yos get all the money. Because they don't do anything with the money. Putting it real simple, plain old 101. So anyway, it's not just all about this gold standard garbage. It's about taking the power out of the hands of the major crooks. And actually, I did mention that the Federal Reserve Board, I forgot the president of it, who his name was, he's at odds with Goldman Sachs. I mean, they want to whittle them down. There's actually some stuff going on that, some of these big investment houses, because, not everybody in the government is like, this big evil monolith, everybody thinks that held in silver and gold. There's people in there that really think, hey, this is how the thing's been going. It's like you just can't abolish the Federal Reserve overnight, and they're tasked with this job, and some of these people actually have honor. Some of them do. Not all of them, obviously, but some of them do. And there's a competition going on, and, they don't like it when Wall Street rips off, it's getting away with all this bullshit. So, you never know. The Federal Reserve there might be certain people, let me put it this way, in the Federal Reserve that might go after Wall Street in a severe way. It's almost like saying the military can do something too. I mean, it's not good to say that you want all the hands of the power in the military, but, there's people in the military that got a lot of honor too, right? Just like saying that, right? So anyway, situation is changing, but I think it'll be where you're going to see them reversing QE policy to the max is if the market's correct a lot, and they may. It only takes a day or two for the whole thing to go down. And when it does, they're going to panic. And that's going to change the outlook major. But again, I got to repeat that again on here in the end. That CEO, he's the 50th most wealthy man in the world. If he's betting his money and liquidated all his short positions a week ago on oil, and he wants to participate fully in the oil going up, well, what is that telling you, man? What is that telling you? If oil's going to be going up, so that's pretty much telling you that's. But I know that gold can still go lower, but we're right around the bottom here. We're right around the bottom. Situation's going to change, and it could be radically different by next year. Anyway, over and out.